Developing the mind-heart training, like a leaf falling from a tree. Before we know it's landing, it hits the ground with a crash. This process is like the cycle of 12 causes and conditions. The pain we directly experience is the result of the interweaving of the 12 causes and conditions. The Buddha advised his disciples to examine and fully understand their own minds in order to catch themselves before they hit the ground. Don't just indulge in things you like, and don't indulge your mind. To stop following blindly, we must continually block the flow of ignorance. This is called training. If you don't restrain your mind, you will only be dominated by your emotions. This kind of practice is incorrect, just like allowing a child to be willful and arbitrary. Use Buddhism to train yourself and replace your emotions with indulgence. The core of training is to observe motivations and examine the heart. If we train our minds to develop a sense of shame and fear of evil, we will be more restrained and cautious. In this way, our mindfulness will become stronger, and we will be able to stay awake in various situations. But dig deep within yourself. The meditator's responsibility is to cultivate mindfulness, calmness, and contentment, which can counteract the bad habits of the untrained mind. In training the mind, do not get hung up on praise and blame. Our minds cannot be at peace due to the influence of our habits, which deeply trouble us because of our past actions. Only when the mind is free from defilements can it become peaceful. Look inward and examine your faults of body, speech, and mind. If you don't practice in these areas, where can you practice? To make the mind strong means to make it calm or undisturbed by distracting thoughts. A calm mind means finding the right balance. If you have reached a state of inner peace, accept it. If you cannot reach peace, be able to bear it, because this is the way the mind is. We must find a way of practice that suits us and stick to it. The practice of concentration can make the mind firm and peaceful. The mind that is banked, controlled, and regularly trained will reap incalculable benefits. Don't just indulge in your emotions. No matter when you are slack or full of energy, you must keep working hard. Whether you are sitting, walking, or even lying down, you must watch your breathing. Words may be good, but practice is the key. Maintaining long-term perseverance is more important than short-term courage. Continuous practice day after day, month after month, and year after year is the real skill. Correct practice is to do it consistently. The practice must be continuous, which means that the practice or meditation is done internally, not physically. When your meditation session ends, do not think that you have finished your meditation session. Realize that you have simply changed your posture. Through such reflection, you will gain tranquility, which is called disciplined practice. Try harder. Everyone should strive to follow the practice. This is training. Practicing when you are lazy, practicing when you are diligent, knowing the time and occasion clearly. This is expanding the mind. Sometimes the state of meditation may be ideal, and sometimes it may not be. However, there is no need to worry too much, just keep at it. As you continue to practice, concentration will appear naturally. At this time, you should make good use of it to enhance your wisdom. Realize deeply that both joy and pain arise from sensual contact, and do not become attached to them. Don't get hung up on results or the speed of progress, like a baby that first crawls, then learns to walk, and finally runs. The important thing is to strengthen your precepts and practice them continuously. We gradually find our own path in this way. Be careful not to slip through the net, and continue to explore and move forward. This is practice. Regardless of whether you like it or not, do what you like to do, and persist in doing the things you don't like. Just keep taking action. This is our attitude towards meditation. Cultivation should be to be content with few desires. Practice when you are diligent, but also practice when you are lazy. Whether you feel happy or unhappy, you should practice the same way. If you feel comfortable, practice. If you feel sick, practice likewise. This is why the practitioners of the past adhered to the relentless training of the mind. If there are any unpleasant things, let them just stay in the body. Correct diligence is not to make certain things happen, but to be aware and alert to every moment. A kind of diligence that overcomes laziness and worries, so that every activity in our day is carried out with the diligence of meditation. Watch what is happening in the present moment for a long time. When you first start practicing, mindfulness may come in and out, like tiny drops of water dripping from a faucet. However, with unremitting efforts, eventually the gaps between these water drops will disappear and become a continuous flow of water. This is the flow of mindfulness we strive for. If you are slacking off and not working hard, when will the suffering end? How much achievement can slack lead to? Let us establish a solid practice and transcend laziness. If you just listen to the teachings of the Dharma without practicing it, you will be like a ladle in a soup pot, being in it every day, but not knowing the taste of the soup. You can truly understand by just listening. After listening, you have to practice and explore deeply. No one can replace your practice, and just listening to others cannot solve your doubts. The only way to resolve your doubts is to let go of everything yourself. When our practice begins to slacken, we need to immediately pay attention to the mind to keep it stable. After a while, the mind may go off track and become lax again, in which case the mind binds you in this way. But people who are mindful will strengthen their faith and constantly rebuild themselves. Go back, try again, practice, and use this method to advance yourself. Walking on the road of Buddhism cannot only rely on the body to complete it, but must move forward with the mind to obtain benefits. Buddhist meditation is about the heart and aims to develop the heart, one's own heart. A practitioner whose mind is developed is a person who practices Buddhism. Buddhism arises in practice, and teaching only points out the method of understanding. To understand the Dharma, we must bring this teaching into our hearts. It's only this body that's locked in the prison. Don't let your mind be locked up too.